This is Jason,
This is Chad.
and this is Please Pass the Bacon.
Hey, Jason. It's episode 2 of Please Pass the Bacon. What do you think?
Hey, Chad. Welcome back.
Thanks. Welcome to you back as well.
Welcome to episode 2 of Please Pass the Bacon.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening. If you haven't gotten a chance, we do recommend maybe listening to the first podcast, episode 1, just to give it some context, right?
We'll definitely shoot you in the right direction of what we're trying to do here.
Yeah. So, what's new? How have you anything exciting since episode 1?
I just got one thing to tell you about, Jason.
What?
We went on live TV with the Bacon Response team.
Oh, yeah. I saw actually a very good piece. They
to-
did a good job, and you did a good job.
Thank you, Jason.
I can't believe I just gave you a compliment.
I actually was sick as a dog and had to put on my bravest, non-sickest face.
I thought you did very, very well. The Bacon Response team.
Yeah, live TV with the pigs. They did great.
Yeah.
It was nice being on the show.
It was good.
Cool.
It's therapy pigs, right? Therapy pigs?
Yes.
Yeah, I was impressed. I thought you both did a good job. Well, all four of you. Your wife, and
And
the pigs.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What about you? You got anything quick?
No, nothing really. No.
Are you sure there's not anything here that we talked about maybe that's interesting? That
You might have to help me out. I have a very bad short-term memory, I think.
What did I ask?
Say again?
So since last time, what have we talked about adding to our show?
Oh, how about that? The elephant in the room. These lights, these cameras. We started YouTube.
There we go,
channel.
yeah.
We started to video so we could start a YouTube channel. You're not excited about that?
Well, like I said last time, I really have the face for radio.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a chance to get my hair cut, so I feel a little self-conscious about my hair.
And the sad thing is, of the two of us, you're the money maker. That mug of yours, that hair.
Yeah, I just ruined the show, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, that's why we're doing a podcast.
So another thing that changed is episode 1 was just us two knuckleheads going back and forth.
That's right.
And this episode,
It's going to be our first guest ever.
it is, and he's going to get to partake of
Some bacon.
our first.
Which, by the way, at the end of the show, what bacon are we going to review?
Today's bacon will be Smithfield Cherrywood smoked.
Oh, fantastic.
Thick cut.
Fantastic.
Well,
Smoked.
Well, I remember last time you said how much you love smoked meat.
Right.
Or was it you weren't a big fan of
You're
smoked meat?
yeah. Not that I'm not a fan. It's just not something I go out of my way to get. Like, or that I'm not a, like, barbecue. If it's meat and I put a bunch of sauce on it, I'm good. So
And it's just his palate isn't that sophisticated. So
Right.
we'll go. But that's the bacon we're going to be reviewing, and we have our first guest who hopefully will partake of that as well, and maybe give us a little review of what he thinks.
And we're going to have to tell our guest that we judge it based on a 5-point scale or a 5-strip scale. And you can use halves, you can use quarters, eighths, whatever.
36ths.
Listen, that's why I'm here.
And,
Okay.
Oh,
Bacon.
hey, speak of the devil.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Where did that voice come from? Mike
Ladies and
Melendez.
gentlemen, Mike Melendez.
Dun, dun, dun. Mike Melendez, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me on here, man.
No, let's start by thanking you, sir,
That's right.
for even coming up with this idea on New Year's Eve, wearing your traffic vest.
Yes. So shall
Yeah.
we go back in time?
Is that the DeLorean music?
Yeah. So we go back in time. Not only did Mike give us the idea for the podcast, right?
He did.
But we mentioned Mike in the last podcast. And we didn't really dig into that, right?
Well, there's a whole...
About the traffic vest.
Yeah, there's a whole thing about what cops forget
yeah.
sometimes, and so we are. Mike walks up to us.
And
We're
we're in a brief, what we would call a roll call. So everybody's getting their assignments and what we're doing for the night. So everybody's in uniform.
And we're like, hey, look, it's Mike.
Look, Mike rolls up.
It's
so
devilishly, as you would say, devilishly handsome. Michael
Mike.
Melendez.
Yeah, that's him. Rolls
look.
up, not only in uniform, which he's not in because he's a detective, But he rolls up in uniform with his
Glowing.
with his traffic vest already on,
Glowing yellow
like
vest.
like he just came out of the academy, and he is
Hey guys,
ready
I'm here to direct.
ready to rock and roll. But that really wasn't the reason, was it?
No. Why?
Would you
why
like
were
to
you
come?
wearing your
Would you
vest?
like to come clean?
Yeah, I didn't know where my badge was. I couldn't find it that day. I found it later, by the way, in the back seat of the car on the little
thingy holder?
belt clip badge holder.
Because you don't use that badge day
yes,
in and
right.
day out.
So a little defense
Yes.
of Mike. Yeah, you would have your detective badge, but then you'd have your bigger badge.
Right.
But here I
for your
am
uniform.
thinking, that's would have probably would have thrown my jacket on.
Yeah.
No,
No.
Mike, he's
That was
That's
smart.
normally what I would have done, but it wasn't cold enough for a jacket. So, and I knew we were going to be out in traffic, right? Let me
now. Did someone
look
help
more
you?
prepared.
Did someone help you put that vest on?
No, but I did have trouble trying to put it on by myself.
Okay, because that looked professionally done.
It was almost like it was tailored,
Yeah.
right?
He
I
may
feel like it
have
was-
had that done.
Did you tailor your?
No, I'll tell you what the key is: go a size down. Right? I should probably wear a medium vest, but I went with a small.
Small.
or maybe a medium even.
Yeah, maybe
think
something like that.
Medium.
Medium.
Huh. Yeah,
So that bravo to your creativity on there. That just cracked us up. And then of course you say, "Hey, I've been watching you guys. Haven't seen you in a little while.
Yeah.
Think about a podcast."
Yeah, so I've always been, I've been keeping up with everything you guys are doing. I see it on Facebook or there's a news article or something, and I see you guys doing something, both of you together. And I thought these guys have a great little working relationship. They play off each other really well. And I'd always been thinking about a podcast. It'd be a good idea. This idea that you guys have, I said, because I watch. A lot of officers now are doing podcasts, but no one's doing this that I've seen yet, showing
less about
Policing.
not a focus on policing or tactics or things like that. There's a place for that, and there's a venue for that, and there's people doing that. That's just not what direction we wanted to go.
Right, yeah, and those things are fine. Those are great, and those are
Absolutely.
necessary.
Yeah.
But I think this is necessary too, to show people that we're people too. We don't breathe this 24 hours a day. We have the same hopes and dreams and fears that everyone else has.
So what I'm hearing you say is that you do or you do not read Guns and Ammo when you go home every night, and then come back in uniform, and then go back home and read Guns and Ammo.
No, I didn't even know that was a real magazine.
I think it is. I'm sure it's a magazine.
I think,
be,
I'm
right?
sure it is. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're right. I think I feel like we've skipped out on the introduction. Mike
Michael Melendez
is a police officer or a detective now in North Carolina, and
Right.
have been so for, you've been a detective for 15
Right, about 15 years
and a police officer for
19.
so coming up on 20.
Coming
right?
up on 20 in March.
Okay, and we're all in that same range, 18 to 20 years, time on.
Yes.
Right.
You are in the sexual assault unit.
Right.
Is that what it's
Correct.
actually called here?
It's sexual assault unit. There's
Special
sex
victims.
crimes teams, special victims teams that
That exist within that unit, right? Gotcha.
Right. It's all related in a division.
Gotcha.
So my team, we work the sexual assault cases.
Gotcha. Okay.
Obviously, he's wanted to be a cop since he was in the womb.
Yeah.
Right, Mike? Michael? Mike?
Right,
Mike,
yeah.
Micathy?
No, this was Micathy. I
Micathy?
like that.
Because that's what people, I think a lot of people might think, is that cops everybody's pretty much wanted to be a cop their whole life, or people have adults have the perception, as we did as kids, of teachers. So we thought teachers are in the school, and
Always.
God forbid if you ever, like, you're at the grocery store and you're like, oh my gosh, that's my teacher, and she's got jeans on. What is she doing? Like, she's supposed to be like grading papers or something.
Wearing her teacher clothes.
Teacher clothes, grading papers at the school, and then you wake up and you're in your classroom, right? Well, people think cops, I think, are always either in uniform or thinking like police officers all the time.
Right.
And that's just not
That's definitely not
the case.
No, and God bless the guys that are like that,
Absolutely.
that love that have always wanted to be that. That's great. We need those guys.
And we need more of that, to tell you the truth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But that's just not all of us,
Right.
And I have a feeling there's more people like us, more officers like us than you think.
That just our fathers. We're all three fathers of multiple children.
Right.
We've got, a children's book author over here, Chad. I own an all-star cheerleading gym. You see that every day, right?
No, you definitely don't.
No, not so much. And then Mike, you've got a lot of interested out that are in the arts,
Right.
writing screenplays, and you, as a matter of fact, don't you have a screenplay that you're trying to get produced? I don't know the right word, but to get produced, to get developed. What's the?
Yeah. So I have a lot of interest in. Huge interest in filmmaking. Actually, I've made a few short films with some folks in the local film community here in Charlotte, and it's at a lower level. But we've done some pretty cool things, and I've written a feature-length screenplay. Now I've written several, but
you have one
that's my baby, and I really, if I don't do anything else after I make this film, then I'll be.
That's like the
I can
story.
die happy, but this is my
Everest.
that's my baby. Yeah,
that's like what that story you feel like you have to get out there.
Right.
That's kind of like, I guess, what we feel like this. We felt like driven to do this podcast in this format, telling good stories, and you've got this screenplay that you want to see it come to fruition.
Absolutely. I want to make it.
Right.
I could have. I could have written a query letter and sent it out to screenwriting agents, without, at the risk of sounding cocky, I think I could have secured an agent and got it out there. But I want to make that film myself.
Oh, so you're not just you haven't just written this, and it's called Swimming with Dolphins, right?
Right.
So you've not just written this to get picked up. You want to be creator, and you want to be producer. You want to take it.
Yeah, I want to tell the story.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And it's a collaborative effort. I get it, but I want to be the quarterback.
Yeah.
There's something about coming up with this vision, being driven to finish it first of all, and then wanting it to appear on screen how you want it to appear.
Right.
And I think that's the essence of creating a story. I mean, being the director, that's a huge part of taking a script, and to me it sounds like not only was the story itself very important for you, but how it's going to look and what you want people to feel when they see it is also very important to you.
Right. And I have a co-director with that's going to do it with me, and some other filmmakers involved, but I have to be the quarterback. It has to be my story, and I want to be able to make those decisions because I know how I want. And it's probably sounds that maybe there's a screenwriter that's going to listen to this and say, "Whoa, that's just not how you do it. You do your part and you back off." And that's great if you love that, but I want to be. I'm a filmmaker, so I want this. I made a very expensive mistake a few years ago. Trying to make a film, and it didn't work out, and I kind of wrote it and kind of I put it in someone else's hands, and some very capable filmmakers, but we just weren't seeing, we had a different idea of what the story was. And when you do that and you're both trying to make this film, it
loses the essence of what you're trying to do.
It was just a horrible experience, and I don't want that again. This one, this time I think I got a good team together, and I hope we're gonna make it one day. No one wants to see 4 60-year-olds fighting over something that happened in college, so we got to make it. We have to make it sooner than later.
Well, good deal. So
that's awesome.
So clearly, not your what people would think as a stereotypical police officer. You've got
Right,
you
yeah.
know,
It's not a police
filmmaking.
story.
And just you as a person, you're being involved in something like that. There's a lot of, I guess, vulnerability that comes with that. And cops don't like to be in a vulnerable position. We like to be in control. We like to be making the decisions. And so it's just interesting that you've got, a police officer who's got these interests outside of work, because people don't think that. I don't know. People don't think that there's a lot beyond the badge.
Well, right. Well, if you see a guy standing there in uniform, you don't think, I can tell by looking at that guy. He's very creative.
That guy's probably an
he's
actor.
writing scripts and acting. You just don't draw that conclusion.
I bet he writes children's books. Yeah.
I could tell because of his hair.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
So you said that you were not, like, you weren't one of the kids who grew up saying, yeah, I know I want to be a cop. I want to be a police officer when I grow up. How old were you when you started with the department?
So I was 25 years old.
Okay. So you weren't fresh out of college.
So the three of us kind of late bloomers.
25. I was 30. You were
27.
27. Yeah.
Yeah, mine was just I just kind of needed a job, and.
But you had moved. Had you applied anywhere back home, or did you move to Charlotte first?
No, yeah. So I moved here first because of I had a friend who lived here going to college here, and I would come to visit him often, and I started noticing the filmmaking community here. At the time, there was a pretty good film incentive, and so Hollywood was making movies here often.
Right.
And so I found my way into the local film community, and believe me, there's egos even at the level where
sure.
I've worked at. There's egos, which is insane to me, but it's there. But I was visiting often and trying to get involved into it, and I got an agent as an actor, and then I decided to move here.
That's not an easy thing to do, is it? I mean, just say, hey, I'm please be my agent. I'm ready to be an actor. I mean,
yeah, no, a lot of agents are looking for you to have had enough experience where you have a reel, and I didn't have any of that. I didn't even have pictures. I didn't have anything. I had written some plays and acted in a couple of small things like that, but I didn't have anything in this. Agent here gave me a shot. She was really a modeling agent and didn't have many actors on, so I was one of the few she had. And
so you went on as a model trying to be an actor, really, with your devilish
yeah,
good looks.
no, I'm not. I'm certainly not a model. But she gave me a shot, and I got a couple of commercials pretty quickly. And I thought, all right, this is how it goes,
happening.
Man. This is how it happens. So I moved here, sleeping on my friend's floor, and after a while, that started to fizzle down.
So is that where did police work come into the picture?
So I had been writing. I'd written a play, a one-act play, about a homicide detective wrestling with his conscience over a case that just wouldn't go away for him. And I wanted to turn that into a screenplay. So I started talking to a homicide detective, and a very nice guy, because I can't imagine a kid coming up and saying, hey, let me pick your brain about this, and having the time. And he took the time, and he sat down with me, and he read my stuff, and he talked me into being a police officer just by saying things like, hey, they got these laptops in the car now. You can take your car and you can go to you'll probably get third shift coming out of the academy. You can back your car up into a construction site that's been having, break-ins and
larsons,
right,
whatever.
and you can deter crime while you're sitting there typing. So
third shift being
good
midnight
salesman.
shift, the graveyard shift, overnight shift.
Yeah.
Right. And I'd always had, I grew up just outside of Fort Bragg, and I'd always had this sense of guilt for not becoming a soldier.
I was too scared. I didn't want to leave home, to be honest. I was afraid to go overseas or not be able to sleep my own bed at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had that
Yeah.
guilt just because
Yeah, I
you were
had
around
that guilt
so much.
of it because I was around those guys, and I looked at those guys as heroes, and I've always had, cops around. I come from a small town, Spring Lake, just outside of Fort Bragg, around the Fayetteville area, and cops were my football coaches. You saw them every day, and it was real. It was the experiences I had with cops were mostly positive. So
Right.
so I always looked up to those guys. But so here was my opportunity to serve. I had that guilty feeling because I didn't want to do that. I wanted other things. I'd always had an interest in movies and writing and all that. And I thought, well, if I join the military, I miss 4 years or 8 years or however long of doing those types of ridiculous. Now I look back on it, how ridiculous that is. But so he said that, and I said, you know what, I can knock out. This is my opportunity to serve, right? Do a couple years doing this, write some screenplays, maybe do some acting while I'm here, and then head on out to Hollywood,
yeah.
and just become a big movie star. Or
And now
right?
here we are,
And here
19
we
years
are,
later.
almost 20 years later.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Grizzled veteran.
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's interesting though. You've been a detective a lot longer than you were working the street.
Yeah.
And that's interesting in a way that, we're in uniform every day, whereas you're in plain clothes every day. Do you feel that people see you differently wearing plain clothes as opposed to being in a uniform every day? People maybe outside of work or.
Yeah, yeah, sometimes, yeah. It doesn't feel that different. I think the only difference is you get assigned something and you keep it. It's yours until you see it through. But there is a lot of that in patrol too. You get cases back assigned to you that you. The unfortunate part about patrol is you're still running calls while you're assigned these cases, and that's difficult. And that's how the whole individual precincts now getting detectives, I think, in the last 10 years or so has been a thing. But no, it's really not as different as people think. And I think on the outside, once people find out you're a police officer, it doesn't matter
whether you're
what
a
you're
detective,
wearing.
where
It's
you're
right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's
Because that's something that people that wear a uniform every day may not think about.
yeah.
Now, you're in patrol. An opening comes up in the sexual assault unit. Now, we've already established that you haven't been a wannabe cop from the very beginning. Now, was this something that what drew you to wanting to get into this part of police work?
Well, I think at that point I'd been there 4.5 years, and I thought, if now I'm here. If I'm gonna be here, let me explore some other things. Let me write about this. If I have these experiences, I bet I could retire with 5 books to write if I stayed here that long. I still had no intention to stay here that long. I thought, okay, now I'll go do this. Now I add this to my resume. I go over there as a former police officer and a former detective, and this, this adds some life to my resume.
Yeah,
that's how I'm thinking of
street
things.
cred. You're
Right?
like, yeah,
Yeah.
street cred.
Yeah.
Huh.
So that was my thought with that. Just there's some perks and some freedoms that come with investigations that you don't always have on the road, and that's what attracts everybody to that sometimes too. So.
But to stay for as long as you have, there's got to be some reward when you're seeing a case, especially in that division, when you're seeing a case to its completion.
Yeah, sure, man.
When
when someone goes to prison who needs to be in prison, and you're a part of that, that's a great feeling. Absolutely.
And I think we underestimate that because we take it for granted because
That's what we're doing. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're just because we don't talk a lot about victims, as far as victims of crime in general.
Right.
But like when we serve, our part of the justice system, I mean, there's a victim there that's appreciative of that, and I think we forget about that sometimes, especially as long as we've been on. You kind of forget about that.
Yeah.
Right?
And if I can just say, there's also a thought that we enjoy, like we enjoy taking someone's freedom from them, but it's not something that I've never spoken to an officer that takes that lightly.
No.
But there is something to be said when, like I said, when someone who needs to go to prison,
That's right.
and you have a part in putting that person in prison and getting them off the street, and justice for a victim, and he's not doing it again, that's a great feeling.
Right.
So would you say that feeling is what has kept you doing what you do? Or, I mean, what keeps you in the sexual assault unit? Is there something that you look back on and say, I know it's been a long day, I know it's been a long month, but this case or this rewarding feeling makes this worthwhile?
There's so many things, there's things that aren't even related to that job that keep me there. It's a schedule that works for me, for my family. As much as I know how to do it, there's always challenges that come with that type of thing.
Which I think another thing people forget about is they think because we're cops that we know every law, everything, and how to handle every call or case that we get.
Right. No,
we don't.
I tell you 2 or 3 times a week, I'm in that crimes book.
Oh yeah.
It's
an ever changing job, and there's so many different things you can do. I went from patrol to a street crimes unit to a fugitive detective and a SWAT sniper, and then back into a division, and now being a
shaking babies and kissing, shaking hands
and kissing babies. There you go.
Yeah. There's so much to do, but yeah, like I said, there's always challenges there, and more often than not, they're frustrating, but you work through them, and there's it's a job that's constantly evolving.
Mm-hmm.
When I first started that 15 years ago, we weren't pulling, we weren't doing forensic analysis on phones. We weren't writing 5 or 6 search warrants for every case.
Right.
Now you can potentially do that. You get a case, you're writing a court order for phone records.
And you end up with a case file 2 inches thick.
Right. Yeah. Well, they used to be 2 inches thick, and now there's just so much to do. There's cameras everywhere, so you're pulling cameras from here and there. Then you get creative and pulling camera. Well, that camera on that business looks like it was pointing this way right when this guy might have been walking. Maybe they have footage. So you're knocking on doors, and it's just it's something that evolves. And I think police departments aren't doing it fast enough. It's changing with the thing, and we're guilty of that as well. But
it's hard to keep up with technology.
Right. Yeah. I think that's a challenge everywhere.
Has there been any case, any behavior or something you've seen that's almost made you want to say, okay, I'm done with this. I want to go back to patrol or pursue a different area of detective work?
All the time.
Like stuff that you're like, that's not even human.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I know you see some things that we definitely don't as handshakers now, but is there anything that sticks out to you that
just you could actually share?
Is there like a case that got away, or is there something that happened to a victim that you just cannot believe, or without getting too...
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a number of those. A case in particular, an older woman who has now passed away. It's a pretty significant assault. She was at home in her bed, and this guy came in through her window. So it's cases like that I think about every day. And then it's cases... I don't think a lot of people understand that there is a true evil in the world. There are some people that are a product of their environment, that grow up with experiences that turn them to that guide them to make some pretty horrific mistakes. But there are also some true evil in the world.
So I hear what you're saying. You're saying like there's people that, because of their circumstance, may not know any better than a life of crime, or they're doing it because that's the only way they feel like they can provide, versus somebody who is truly
right.
Like the rest of us are going, this
evil.
Is completely wrong and I shouldn't do it. Whereas
and
these people that you're dealing with don't even have that kind of barometer or that gauge. They're just saying, I don't care what evil is. This is what I'm going to do.
Right. And you guys know that. You guys have dealt with it too. This
yeah.
is not specific to sexual assault.
No.
But there's just people outside of this job who think think that everything is, there's a reason for when a person does something, and sometimes there's not. Sometimes there's just pure.
I'm trying to think of
There's
what.
just pure evil.
There's
in
a
the world.
movie quote I'm thinking of. I think it's from Batman, or Dark Knight. You know, some people can't be reasoned with. Some men just want to watch the world burn. I think that's from the Dark Knight.
We had a case that I think it was like we saw true evil, because as a fugitive detective, this guy was wanted for a homicide, a triple homicide, and
Triple means 3.
Yeah, thanks. So we finally track him to an apartment. Long story short, as far as the apprehension part goes, he was wanted for, it was basically a home invasion, dope-related home invasion. Killed the man and the woman in the house, but then he went upstairs. There was a young child that was in the house, not even there to watch anything, but went upstairs and stabbed that child to death. And then when we finally came across him, he had turned all the gas on in the apartment. He had made his way, and he had snuck out of the back before there were people who were watching it. Because what he wanted to do was...
Is he setting a trap?
Yeah, absolutely. He was assuming, you know, because the way we were dressed, that it was a SWAT team or something, some kind of tactical team like that.
So
he's thinking flashbang or something, turn the gas on.
Boom, everyone dies.
Yeah, exactly.
Except him, and he's gone.
And he's gone. Well, he ended up getting out, but then he was spotted running, and then one of our guys, this guy's running, he's running at him, and about 10 feet from each other, he reaches in his waistband and starts to pull out a gun, and our guy couldn't even react, you know, with his gun. So he was so close, he just had to grab the gun. Then the guy tries to point it at his own head while they're wrestling around. Jeez. Like the face of evil. I mean, just that's the eye opener, and I think what people don't realize is officers see a lot of that stuff,
right?
And it wears on you.
Sure.
Like, you know, I don't know. I really don't know enough about PTSD to say that we would say that most cops have some.
It definitely has an effect.
It has an effect, especially somebody like you that sees.
Well, you know what I've done
after case.
It's always something. I don't want to make it sound this easy, but sometimes you have to wear it like a jacket. You know, when you come home, you got kids you have to raise, and it's time to take that jacket off and not think about that anymore. And it took me a long time, I think, to get to that point, because I would come home and then I'm checking my work email on my phone, or I'm thinking about, okay, when I get in there tomorrow, I had to let that go. And it's stressful. And I know there's a lot of stuff I have to do, but I've decided that I don't want to think about that when I'm at home.
Well, it's funny you say a jacket, because I think our families can see, oh, look, Dad's wearing his jacket, or my husband's wearing his jacket because he's not settling into home life. He's not being himself because he's got, I mean, you don't feel at home when you're wearing a jacket. And our families can sense that.
Like you're literally
also.
saying a jacket.
Like literally, you can feel like, hey, Jason's wearing that jacket because he's thinking about as soon as he gets to work tomorrow, he's got to go do this, this, and this, and this, and he's not here as my husband right now.
So not like but you're saying
so
in a literal sense, or a figurative jacket.
A figurative jacket.
Okay, that's what I was trying to figure out. Yeah. Like, do you go home and just wear a jacket?
My police jacket.
That's what I'm picturing. I'm like, dang.
I'm wearing my police jacket at home just so everybody knows.
It took me. I'm not the smartest, so it took me a second to figure out that was a figurative.
So
See, I'm not a screenplay writer. You know what I mean?
No, you do a lot of other things very well, though. English major. So, just real quick, more writing as a patrol officer doing reports, or more writing as a detective?
More writing as a detective, and you know that plays, because what is one of the first thing any writer will tell you is write when you can. Whatever it is, just write. If it's a grocery list, if it's, just write. That's the first thing they tell you. So So that's one of the things that excited me. Well, I'm going to get to write every day, and I absolutely do. And
So circling back, talking about writing, the screenplay you wrote, Swimming with Dolphins.
yes.
We didn't even ask, what is that? What's it about?
Yeah, you mentioned
Yes.
it. Was,
Yeah,
no one. You said all we said was nobody wants to see 4 60-year-old guys arguing over something that happened in the past. But what is
Yeah,
this?
so
what is this
I guess
film
we should
about?
put some context with that, right?
That would be great.
Yeah, thank you for asking about that because I love this screenplay. So it's a story about 4 friends from college, 4 roommates from college. One female, her name is Andy, and 3 guys, and they all live together in college. So the story begins 15, 18 years after college. One of them is terminally ill. And so his current fiance wants to get his old friends from college. She remembers, or she hears him talk, and she sees photographs, and this was a very happy time in his life. So she wants to get these friends together. She doesn't realize that they haven't spoken since graduation day in college. So maybe he has spoken with them individually, but they haven't spoken together. There's something that happened that last day that kind of drove them apart. They don't speak. So
she doesn't know that. She's
she
just
doesn't
trying to
know
do
that.
something sweet.
But she gets them together. They decide to set their differences aside, right, and spend this long weekend with their friend, and that's where it is. I've always loved reunion movies,
Right.
and The Big Chill. I really loved that movie, and I thought that I could write this because I wanted to make this movie. I thought that I could write this, with 1 or 2 locations. So that's how I wrote it, and so it's really character driven, I think, and it has this group of people spending the weekend together and kind of ironing out this fight that they should have taken care of 15 years ago.
Cool.
So
Cool.
for some of the people that maybe don't have that creative part of them or don't understand, why the title Swimming with Dolphins?
So
Easier
this
asked than
character,
answered.
yeah. Well, this character's terminally ill, right? And when I was researching diseases, and he has a brain tumor, and so I was looking into these things, and I realized I started to come across a lot of bucket lists, and that was on a lot of bucket lists, Swimming with Dolphins. And so there's a scene towards the end where he makes a toast to his friends, and he says something like, "A man without friends is a man swimming in a sea of lost souls. But this weekend I was truly swimming with dolphins." And that's his way of telling his friends this is what he wanted. This was on his bucket list.
Yeah, that's deep. Hey,
Cool.
let me get that.
Oh. Ding.
Oh my gosh, you're really feeling feelings. I'm proud of you. Proud of you, SWAT sniper guy, for feeling things like that on camera too.
Thanks, fella.
Well, Mike, I really hope that we see this on the big screen someday. That would be really, really cool. I mean, because unlike being a police officer, being a filmmaker, being a writer, that's something you have had since you were a kid.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, when I was a kid, just a bored kid with nothing to do, I would write and make up these silly, ridiculous stories and draw these comic books and.
Cool.
And yeah, so if I can make this film, if I make this film for $5,000 and all it ever does is make me $5,000 to do it all over again, that's all the dream ever was for me.
You've gotten
Yeah.
kind of like this podcast. We may have said this, but this is how we want to do it. So we didn't come up with an idea and pitch it to somebody.
Right.
We took this format. This is our story. That's the story that you want to tell.
Yeah, I mean, I feel
You're
the same way
compelled.
about being a writer.
Yeah.
I if I never make a bunch of money writing my books, that's not going to stop me from doing it. That's not the point. Would I love to be able to just write full time? Absolutely, but you know, we do what we can.
Cool. If it's something that you have to do, then you'll do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. So it's about that time. Did you notice any smells when you came into the house today?
I did. Yeah.
Bacon.
Yeah, I've been looking forward for that.
Bacon. Who doesn't love bacon?
Well, I can tell you who doesn't love the way I prepared it.
Mr. Melendez.
You know, so
who came right through the door, and immediately what did he do?
He starts bossing me around.
Bossing me around. Hey,
he's like, hey, by the way, before I was a cop, I was cooking chicken livers at the gas station, and here's how you should cook your bacon.
Detective Melendez here telling you how to cook your bacon on your show called Please Pass the Bacon.
And what did he not cook at the gas station?
I didn't hear anything about bacon. I heard chicken livers, fried chicken. I heard everything.
If you put it that way, does sound kind of obnoxious, but I thought maybe, you know. You can make a whole pack of bacon in 2 pans if you did it my way, but
so it's that control. Yeah. It's that control, right? That mentality.
He's like, hey, Chad, look, I'm taller than you.
Look at my hair.
I've been on longer. Look at my hair's longer. You're gonna cook bacon the way I say. But I think I explained it to him why we don't always do things the easy way.
Yeah. Well, why don't you grab the bacon? I think it's time to rate the bacon.
What would you like me to do with that bacon, Jason?
Would you like to bring it over here so we can taste it? Please.
Would you like me to, please?
Oh, I would like for
okay,
you.
Can I alley oop? Can I lob this
do
up
that
for
again.
you to slam home?
Do it again.
Hey, Jason, is there anything you'd like me to do with this bacon?
Why, yes, Chad. Why don't you please pass the bacon?
There it is.
Da-da-da.
Ding.
Can you reach the bacon?
I'm going to reach over and grab this bacon.
Okay, go ahead. Oh, yeah.
Here it is.
You know what? Guess first.
Absolutely.
Mike, please.
Now, Mike,
okay.
At the end of each show, you heard that we rate bacon. Now, we do this on a 5-strip scale.
We didn't even ask. Do you eat meat?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a little presumptive on our part, huh?
Well, he already told me how he cooks bacon, so I guess
True. There you go.
This has been sitting around a little longer than...
That's okay.
So, Michael.
Strips?
Yes, strips. It's a 5-strip scale. There can
be... It's so crunchy and delicious.
Half. We could have half strips, quarter strips.
I'd say half, quarter. No eighths. And yeah, let's stick with quarters and halves.
Okay. God, I love the sound of people eating. I'm going to step away from the mic a little bit.
I, on the other hand, because of Chad's hatred of listening to people eat. Are you catching any of that?
I am. So,
that's pretty good.
That is pretty good because I said it's a subtle. You know, the last stuff we tried was the double smoked. This is the Cherrywood, so it's not quite as overbearing.
Again, your nuanced palate, or your
sophisticated.
Your sophisticated palate, just like I said. Your sophisticated palate's picking up the smokiness. I just taste bacon. Mike?
Yeah, it's a... so is it low sodium?
No.
No.
It's not. It does have kind of a... Yeah, it's not the saltiest.
The Cherrywood.
I'm going to... I'll go ahead and start. Do you want another piece, or are you good?
Yeah, it's not that low sodium that I can't try another piece, but
I'm with you. I know what Mike's getting at. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna give it a 3.5 again.
3.5.
Yeah. Way to cop out.
I don't really like that term.
Way to cop out.
Plead the fifth on your bacon.
Okay.
Michael,
what do you got? So,
would you care to rate the bacon?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 3 because of the way it was prepared. I think it was.
Had it been baked?
It was professionally pan fried, so that was good. I'm
3.
Concerned about the low sodium, but that's
he keeps throwing out this low sodium term.
I think
for my heart, though. I guess that's
Wait, but it is not low sodium.
It is not.
Okay. All right. What do you have there, Chad?
I'm also going to give it a 3.
Oh, is there a deciding factor?
I mean, it's good.
Yeah, all bacon is good.
It's good.
Maybe not as salty as I think I want. Like, I'm with Mike on that.
And I may have prepared it just maybe a little. I may have left it in there just a little bit too long, and it has been sitting a little bit.
It's been sitting, but it's still good. It's
But
still bacon.
it was good.
And again, who doesn't love at least, if you don't eat it, the smell of bacon?
The odoriferous emanations.
I think we all
of
share
bacon.
that. That's a common thread
It's common
amongst us all.
goodness.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I think that's going to do it for episode 2, but our first interview of Please Pass the Bacon.
Michael, thank you again for being here. Thank you all for listening to us. And Jason, you have any last words?
No.
Anything?
Thank you guys for what you're doing. I think this is
Amazing.
yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
Incredible.
No, but I do think it's very cool that you guys are taking the time to do this.
Sweet. We appreciate you taking the time on a Friday night, away from the family, with guests in town, to come join us.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it very much.
Look how polite we are. High fives. All right. We'll see you
All
next time here on Please Pass the Bacon. Ba-dum-bum. This episode of Please Pass the Bacon has been brought to you by Victory Nutrition International. Victory Nutrition offers supplements that are made from premium quality ingredients, and they've also got science to back their products. They've got tons of clinicals that actually are peer-reviewed in scientific literature, and they stand out because they've got products that really work. Victory Nutrition International, nutrition that gets in. To order your Victory Nutrition, just go to vni.life/victoryathletics.